This week, we're staring into the future. We're self-driving around China.
That is a bit creepy.
And we're flexing out... Ooh, that looks painful.
Not quite.
Give me the chime, I'm doing it.
Cars. They're always one of the biggest draws at tech shows, and last week's CES was no exception. There were plenty of innovations inside the vehicles and out.
Say you wanted to rent this beauty for the weekend, and when you returned it, there were a few dinks in the bodywork. How do you conclusively prove that you didn't do them? Well, what you need are a pair of these.
These are check scanners, a French innovation which can inspect a car for damage in the time it takes to drive through them. There are 10 cameras on each side, and machine learning has been trained to spot dents and scratches, which can be compared to those that were there when you picked the car up. It's also useful for manufacturers to spot any imperfections in new cars, and in a world where we're buying more and more things online at a distance, these could be useful for producing condition reports for second-hand car auctions. But much of the car innovation on display at CES was of the self-driving nature. After all, whoever steals a march in this area is going to be in the best position to tap into the billions that this sector offers. It's taking longer to perfect than perhaps some realised. It is all about data from testing, and more testing. Which is why, though private companies are at the vanguard, behind the scenes, the big nations are facing off to provide the most favourable regulations. The big rivals here? Well, you probably guessed it, the US and China. The US was initially quicker to grant licenses for companies like Waymo, but its superpower rival has also woken up with big deregulation plans of its own. The huge corporations on the front lines, Alibaba, Google, Ford, Tesla, Tencent and Baidu, are all now battling to capitalise, to hone their algorithms and create the first truly autonomous road vehicle.
Stephen Beckett went to Guangzhou to visit one of the global leaders in autonomous vehicles to find out more.
This is Guangzhou in the south of China. About 75 miles upriver from Hong Kong, it's one of China's biggest and most developed cities. Home to around 14 million people, and now it's one of a handful of cities in China running large-scale trials of self-driving cars on public streets. This is Pony.ai. You may not have heard of them, but here their cars have become a common sight in the area around their head office. Over the last year, they've been running an autonomous taxi service in the city. At the moment, the trial is only open to selected family and friends of Pony.ai employees. A pretty good deal though if you can get access, as it's completely free. Hello. With just a few taps on an app, an autonomous taxi will come straight to you.
So this autonomous taxi service is operating all around the district of Nangsha in about 100 square kilometre area, mainly the urban bit. So we've got quite a lot of choice of where we can go. Where should we go then? That is a bit creepy. The driver's got his hands in a kind of like ready to go position. There's some chap driving on the wrong side of the road, just down there. The car did slow down a little bit of braking, but we seem to have got through that one unscathed. What's interesting is some of these things just don't happen in other places in the world. If you're building a self-driving car in the US, and your car might not know what to do if it sees someone for the first time driving on the wrong side of the road. But here, fortunately, people are driving wherever they like.
But making sure vehicles like these are safe enough to roam free without a backup operator is the next big challenge for autonomous car companies around the world. Ning Zhang leads the engineering operation here at Pony, and so it's his job to try and make that a reality.
Sometimes in each different city, the traffic pattern and the driving behavior is totally different. Say in US, is usually they obey the traffic law more and tend to yield to like lane change. But in China, the driving behavior is more aggressive. So it's sometimes unpredictable, especially for like cyclists. So you need to put everything into consideration.
It's something that they keep telling me here. Chinese data is just richer than data in the US. Right now, most self-driving car companies are focused on getting their vehicles to work in their home countries. But once that's figured out, the rest of the world is next. And it could be that cars trained on unpredictable Chinese roads will stand a better chance in places like India and Africa.
Pony.ai was founded in December 2016. It's only 3 years past, and we think we're almost as good as the best autonomous driving car company in the United States.
Because the roads in America maybe are a bit more predictable than they are here in China, do you think that means that they'll get to the kind of self-driving dream first because the problem's a bit easier in America than you will in China?
Actually, we think differently because in China it's more challenge. I would say that we drive 1 kilometer on Chinese public road. It's like 10 times more value than we drive 1 kilometers in United States. That's why we can improve faster.
So this screen here is designed to give the passenger an idea of what the car itself can see. That car there, this car in front of us, is represented on here as a different coloured block. You see, that was an interesting situation going here. These guys are pulling out, this car's coming up on our right. But the car's managed to handle it, the driver didn't need to step in. We want to go in here, I think that's why it's confused. Just thinking about it, this guy's coming in. This is a pretty confusing situation even for a human. Bit of honking going on. But you can see why it's confused because it wants to go in here. And there's a lane of traffic there. So yeah, I think that's probably what I would have done as well. I mean, I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. It handled a few weird situations. We had a guy on the wrong side of the road, but it didn't do anything that felt dangerous, which I think is the main thing. I mean, it wasn't exactly like a human driver. Still, some of the way it moved, some of the decisions it made probably would feel a bit unusual to you if you were used to a human driver. But, you know, it's on the way.
When it comes to technologies that are consumer-facing, they don't have any obvious political impact or anything to do with content, then the Chinese government is very relaxed about letting entrepreneurs innovate first, seeing what happens, and then maybe regulating later. And that often is the opposite sequence to what happens in, say, the UK or the US, where governments will get ahead of potential problems with, for example, self-driving cars, implement regulations first, and then the industry then follows.
The reality is that for a long time, China was lagging behind in autonomous technology. But as we know, when China makes a decision to do something, as it has here, things can happen very quickly.
At the southern end of the Las Vegas Strip is the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Now, on October 1st, 2017, this was the scene of a tragedy, the US's deadliest ever mass shooting. A gunman in one of the rooms opened fire on a crowd of concertgoers across the road. He killed 58 people and injured more than 400. The incident sparked a review of security across the city, but now it's being taken further. And Richard Taylor's been looking at whether technology can stop would-be perpetrators in their tracks.
Here's the dilemma. How do you keep the world's entertainment capital safe for its revelers without turning it into a party-pooping security fortress?
The PatScan multi-sensor covert threat detection platform is a next-generation security solution.
PatriotOne believes it has the answer, using unobtrusive sensors which generate information feeds that can be assessed to see if someone's carrying a weapon. This Vegas casino resort is now rolling out the tech, which has been in testing for the past 2 years.
So we've got various bits of hardware here. Essentially,
the system can be discreetly placed, say in a building entrance or in a turnstile, and unlike a metal detector, it creates an invisible fence you wouldn't even know was there. So if I'm carrying a concealed weapon on my person, or worse still, intent on an act of violence, the system, if it's deployed as it is here invisibly in these planters, can kick in, the AI making a determination of whether or not this is benign and alerting the security authorities to take the relevant action. The PAT scan device works on several levels. One sensor emits low-power microwave pulses which bounce off objects, creating so-called resonance frequency patterns that identify the shape of an object. Another sensor creates a magnetic field and detects disturbances as an object passes through. But the real smarts lie in the AI algorithms. Within seconds, they assess the sensor data against that already in PatriotOne's database to figure out if weapons are being hidden. With daily shootings in the US and a knife crime epidemic in the UK, the allure of a system to keep us safe is certainly seductive.
so we want to be in public schools, we want to be in hotels, in shopping malls, in university campuses. And so we're now in the business of rolling out. Obviously, North America is our genesis, our starting point. The UK market will be extremely important to us, particularly when it comes to knives, because of the knife crime crisis and the fact that knives are being used by terrorist groups for mass attacks.
But groundbreaking as the tech is, it's largely unproven. How accurate is your system? Because when it comes to AI, the machine is only as smart as the data that you're feeding it.
Well, we've been out for a long time now with tremendous partners like Westgate, who've allowed us to get a lot of data here. The University of North Dakota equally has been hugely supportive in that way. So we've built sufficiently large data holdings that we now have confidence in the accuracy of our systems, enough confidence that we're now into our first commercial deployments. Our early adopters for those commercial deployments also understand that the systems get better and better and better the more data is fed in. So they are equally allowing us to ingest data for training the system.
Still, the system isn't 100% accurate or foolproof. An assailant may well get into the premises another way entirely, or a weapon could be hidden in a different shaped object, like a metal box. So, an additional security layer is needed. So if I'm openly brandishing a weapon, that's where the eyes of the system kick in, the so-called machine vision, where a security camera can make an assessment based on what's in my hand against its database, and if it finds that it's likely to be a weapon, it will trigger a relevant alert. The idea of augmenting human eyes with the smarts of computer vision is catching on globally, a number of outfits promising enhanced security through person and object detection. But understandably, that leaves many people uneasy.
We are very conscious of the fact people don't want to live in a mass surveillance society. And so, there are different ways in which you could gather data, but we capture no personal information, we don't store or distribute any personal information. We're looking for objects. People are of no interest to us unless they're carrying a threat object. So what our AI has been trained to recognize is the threats. It's not making any determination on people, and it's capturing no personal information, generating no body image. And that, I think, puts us on the right side of that line between, too much surveillance and not enough security.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. It was the week that US President Donald Trump clashed with Apple over the tech giant's data encryption rules. Apple refuses to unlock iPhones to assist in criminal investigations, citing privacy concerns for users. Microsoft ended its support of Windows 7 after 10 years, meaning that users will no longer receive security updates. The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre is recommending that Windows 7 users replace their unsupported devices as soon as they can. London's Heathrow Airport is installing a new anti-drone system that will allow it to pinpoint unauthorised aircraft as well as their pilots. The move comes as airports are increasingly looking for ways to prevent drone disruption following a temporary closure at Gatwick in 2018. Tesla cars are being enabled to talk to pedestrians in a baffling British accent.
Well, don't just stand there staring, hop in.
In true Knight Rider fashion, Tesla CEO Elon Musk tweeted a video of a car speaking to passers-by. The feature will apparently be used to talk to other road users and pedestrians, as well as provide a flatulence function, What a time to be alive. And finally, if you've ever wondered if your pet pooch will enjoy a podcast, Spotify has introduced a new range of personalised playlists for pets. Pet Playlists is a new experience where Spotify users can get curated playlists based on their pet's tastes and character attributes. Pet sounds, anybody?
There is just so much to see here, but I've been getting my hands, ears, eyes, nose and mouth on some wearables. First up, no, this isn't a pair of goggles, it's the prototype of an air purifying mask. The finished product will look like this. With claims it's 50 times more effective than the market-leading cycling mask, the AO Air uses nanotechnology and air pressure to filter out harmful particulate matter. What's described as a multi-stage filtration system provides the process of air being sucked in. That air will then be cleaned and pushed out at the front, creating your own environment of pure, clean air. Apparently the prototype is a lot less comfortable than the finished version, and this is a size large. I'd need a smaller one. I feel like my nose is being held. I probably sound like my nose is being held. And it would take some getting used to, but it is actually adjusting according to my respiration rate. So right now the fan speed's at 16%. I can make the fan go up more if I want more air to be pumped. I don't feel like I'm at the dentist. It's a matter of what I could do. I certainly couldn't run like this. Maybe I could ride a bike. I don't know. But it's not just about the device. This is actually about collecting data, localised air quality data, and also respiration information. And there are some plans to use that for some health tech in future, particularly maybe meditation. It has 5 hours battery life, and in time the device will be miniaturised. But despite the fact that I thought I looked completely and utterly ridiculous, it has actually made it to the catwalk, featuring in New York and Seoul fashion weeks. Back on the show floor, there was also the sixth finger. Sixto is a device for people who have limited mobility in one hand, so it could be due to a stroke or something like that. Now, the way it works is you position the bad hand where it needs to grab hold of something, and this joystick, which will be held in the good hand, is used to be able to close the device so that you can actually pick something up. One of the other benefits of this is that it actually encourages somebody to use a hand which isn't functioning properly, rather than holding their arm in a position where it's likely to get stiffer. But in the depths of one slightly more secret meeting spot came this view into the future. This is a contact lens that provides augmented reality. Apparently it fits like any other scleral or semi-permeable contact lens. Now this could be used for something like translation, that words would come up in front of you as you were having a natural conversation with someone. The idea is that this is all about invisible computing, that something like this should be less intrusive than having your phone in front of you. Wow, that is incredible. In a way, the fact that there's little enough information for it to not be totally distracting makes it better. I think if they put too much up, it would just become a bit overwhelming. Whilst I wasn't allowed to actually wear it, just holding it up I could see some simple stats right before my eyes, which, having been sceptical in advance, I was pretty blown away by. So how was it possible to fit all of this into the lens?
We've had to build our own wireless protocol between the contact lens and another wearable accessory, because we had to manage power and data and size of chip, and that accessory connects to your mobile phone or the cloud to access additional computing resources and information. It's very comfortable, it fits to your eye, it corrects your vision when you wear it, so if you have a prescription, we build the prescription into the lens. Heart rate data, speed, and even with your eyes shut, you will be able to see this because it's lit up, and obviously the lens is sitting beneath your eyelid. It feels seriously sci-fi. And there you have it. What to wear to see and feel the future.
There. Never taken that photo before. The thing about coming to Las Vegas straight after Christmas is you eat lots of food followed by lots more food. And Chris Fox has decided that he's going to use technology to help knock him back into shape. This is what he's found.
These 3 new apps are designed to help with your fitness goals using image recognition, machine learning and motion sensors.
But are any of these apps advanced enough to replace a personal trainer? I've come to the gym to find out.
First up is Vey Sports, which uses image recognition in the selfie camera to make sure you're doing the exercises properly. You choose a trainer, put the phone a few meters away and follow the instructions in your headphones.
Okay, great, I can see you. Here we go with push-ups today. Get into the starting position so I can see you at all times.
Based on what the camera sees, the app gives you feedback to correct your form.
You call that a rep? Your hips are a bit too high up.
It also counts how many reps you do properly, so you can track your progress.
Nice work. How are the back of the arms feeling?
At the moment, the app only works with body weight exercises, so to move on to weight training, I'm trying Gym Fitty, a virtual personal trainer you can talk to.
I'm done.
Rest for 2 minutes. How many reps did you do?
10.
Well done. Let's do another set.
The app creates a bespoke workout tailored to your goals, and it remembers how well you did last time, so you don't have to log your workout or write anything down.
I want you to add another 5 kilograms on each side of the bar. Ping me when you're done.
To relax, I'm finishing off with some yoga. This is Yoga Notch, which uses motion tracking sensors to detect my position and correct my form, which, fair warning, is going to be terrible.
Not quite.
Give me the chime, I'm doing it. Oh, I got a chime, I did it right.
I'm not sure whether setting up these sensors every time would take some of the zen out of yoga, although the company says it's more accurate than using image recognition.
Oh, come on.
These apps certainly add a layer of interactivity to a workout, but can they match the kind of encouragement you get from a human personal trainer?
I think it can train you just as effectively. Bear in mind that Gym Fitty is able to process huge amounts of information that's very specific to you, and it's with you all the time.
And there you have it, a downward-facing dog from a forward-facing fox. Was that cheesy? I know. We're in Vegas. Although next week, we won't be. We're going to LA.
And with Oscar season just around the corner, for us, that means we start our very special look behind the scenes at the best, most innovative work in visual effects that's up for awards this year. I cannot wait.
What? Please do join us there. And in the meantime, you can find us all across social media on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at BBC Click. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in LA.